Tonight, I'm going to be taking you on a tour of Scotland's luxury overnight train. Riding from Euston station in England's bustling capital city, we'll check out the fancy first class lounge before heading over to my private club suite on board. I'll show you the ensuite bathroom and shower, and even take a visit to the restaurant car. Best of all, you won't even believe how cheap my ticket was, so join me as I ride the Caledonian Sleeper to Inverness.
Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'm at London Euston and I'm going to be travelling on board the Caledonian Sleeper up to Inverness in one of their first class club sleeping rooms. For this journey I've got a very good price and I can't wait to share it with you later on in the video, but first let's have a little look around London Euston station. Let's go!
Good evening from a very colourful Euston station, the capital city's gateway to Scotland, North Wales and the northwest of England. By day, the station is a very busy commuter destination, with the terminal being the country's 7th busiest station overall. Moving through into the station, we're met with a large empty space. There's not much in the main concourse, except other passengers. Luckily, the area next to the platform has numerous catering outlets, with some more of these being present above the concourse. Lastly, up here you can find the Avanti First Class Lounge. Avanti West Coast are owned by First Group and Trenitalia, the national operator of Italy, being responsible for the long-distance daytime services out of London Euston to the Midlands and Scotland. After a table is cleaned for me, I am shown to an empty seat to relax ahead of departure. First class tickets for Caledonian Sleeper are also accepted here, with clubroom and Caledonian double passengers being granted entry up to 2 hours prior to scheduled departure. This offers a great view over the station, away from the hustle of Euston's main concourse. There's also a complimentary food and drinks offer. As I had already eaten, I decided to treat myself to a hot chocolate and a pair of delightful cakes. Shower facilities are also available, but I'll instead be taking a look at the shower on board. My departure wasn't actually on the screens when I arrived, as I turned up at the station very far in advance. But I will be catching the 21:15 Caledonian Sleeper service to Inverness, Aberdeen and Fort William, the service splitting in Edinburgh. We'll be departing from Platform 1, one of the few platforms at the station that can handle the excess length of the 16-car Caledonian Sleeper consist. The train today will be hauled by one of these Class 92 electric locomotives, which started off life hauling freight trains through the Channel Tunnel. Originally, these locomotives were planned to haul sleeper trains from London to European destinations, such as Amsterdam, Dortmund and Frankfurt. This idea was sadly abandoned, with the fleet eventually ending up instead pulling overnight trains to Scotland. Our locomotive today is 92043, carrying the Great British Rail Freight livery. This is the company that supplies all locomotives for the Caledonian Sleeper operation. The Caledonian Sleeper uses a fleet of brand new Mark V carriages, entering service in 2019. These were built by the Spanish manufacturer CAF, specifically for operation on this service. Before boarding, you simply check in with the host on the platform. After the particulars of the train are explained to me, it's time to get on and find my private clubroom for the night. These carriages have a marvellous design, with every part of the interior inspired by Scottish tradition. By the way, these corridors are very narrow, so be sure not to bring too much unwieldy luggage. My place for tonight is Coach L, Room 5. I'm going to get settled in quickly before making a visit to the onboard restaurant. But first, here's a look at the journey ahead. Today's route will take us north from London, stopping in the Midlands at Crewe and the northwest at Preston. We'll reverse at Edinburgh before heading up into the Scottish Highlands. The journey is scheduled to take 11 hours and 27 minutes to cover 591 miles, or about 951 kilometres. We end up pulling out of London Euston just a couple of minutes late, at 21:17. Right after departure, I decided to head to the onboard restaurant. Along the way, I passed through many other sleeper carriages, including the one with double rooms and accessible rooms. This is the club car, where you can unwind over a meal or a few drinks before bed. Seating is available in booths of 4, or at the sawtooth style table. Unfortunately, I was allocated to one of the stools. These are pretty uncomfortable. Food and drink here in the club car is inspired by local Scottish tradition, with the menu claiming to offer a taste of Scotland. There's also an extensive alcohol selection on offer, but be warned, some of the choices here are not cheap. I went for the macaroni cheese, which I thought was a really tasty meal. In Scotland, macaroni cheese is also served in pie form. I would have loved to see that on the menu too. With this, I also had an orange juice. In total, this cost me £14.30, which is definitely very expensive. However, it was a pleasant meal, so I guess that's just the cost of eating on a luxury sleeper train. Anyway, as we slowly pass through Watford Junction, it's time to head back to the room. But before I get some rest and find out how well I'll sleep on this train, let's take a look at what you get in a club room. Access to rooms is granted via a key card, which you'll find waiting for you upon boarding. Make sure not to lose it. Once inside, you can lock the room too. Each room features 2 beds, one down below, with another bed located on top, accessed by way of ladder. Both beds have their own control panel for the room. On this, you can find the room light control, which can be turned on and off. In addition, you can also reduce the brightness. Beneath the light controls, you'll find the thermostat. This is extra useful if travelling in one of Scotland's cold, harsh winters. The last control is a bright reading light, ideal if you need some light without illuminating the entire room. And finally, a USB socket is available. If your device doesn't use USB sockets, then there are 2 3-pin sockets found on the other wall. This other wall also features the window light button, which I thought had a really classy feel to it. In here is the ensuite toilet and shower, but we'll save this for later on in the video when I have a shower in the morning. Waiting for you in the room is a few bottles of water, a welcome refreshment if you've had a busy day beforehand. As well as this, you can find a small amenity kit and some informational leaflets in the room too. The items come in a shiny fabric bag. These are supplied by Aaron Aromatics. Firstly is a pillow spray, the touch of style you never knew you needed in your life. There's also hand and body lotion, conditioning shampoo, and body wash. By the way, luggage space can be found beneath the bed. As trains in the UK are smaller than most others you'll encounter in Europe, there's no space for luggage above the ground or over the corridor. Time to pull down the blind and get into bed. Now these beds are some of the most comfortable I've ever slept on aboard a train, and in fact some of the best anywhere actually. The pillows are really soft, and you just sink into the amazing premium mattress, made by Glencraft Luxury, a company so reputable they've supplied the British royal family for 4 generations. I end up going to sleep around midnight, as the train safely carries me to the Scottish Highlands. Seven hours of uninterrupted sleep later, I awake to an arrival at Aviemore. This town is popular with tourists, in particular for winter sports and hiking in the hills. Beside the bed, there's a sliding table. This folds out to provide a good surface. Make sure not to sit on it though. Breakfast was delivered to my room at the time requested, with me choosing 07:45, about an hour prior to arrival. This was included with the club room ticket, and features a granola yoghurt, orange juice, a cup of tea, and some sort of porridge thing. If this selection isn't to your liking, then you can choose your own items from a set list, giving the card to the carriage attendant before bedtime. Before arrival, let's take a quick look at the ensuite toilet and shower. The design in here is clever and an efficient use of space, with the toilet tucked away beneath a folding bench. By the door, you can find a bag containing toilet roll and large body towels. Now onto the shower itself. This was actually really good, and I was surprised at the high quality. The pressure was strong, and the temperature could be controlled to whatever you find the most comfortable. Now, if you'll excuse me. Back in the room, there's a small sink. And beneath this is a hand towel and a bin. As the sun slowly starts to rise over the Scottish Highlands, let's talk about how much this journey cost. And I think I found a bargain. Booking this trip under 1 month in advance, I paid just £99 for a private club room. This does include my 16 to 25 railcard discount of 1/3, but even then, I think this is excellent value for money considering the service's high standards. Oftentimes, this trip will cost a lot more, particularly in peak summer season. However, even then, there are a few options to keep the prices lower. For example, this is a classic room, featuring all the same comforts, just without lounge access, breakfast, and the shower. The cheapest option is to travel in the seats, however I do not advise doing this as you'll struggle to get a relaxing night of sleep in here. No matter which travel class you opt for, one thing remains strong throughout, and that's the sense of identity. The Caledonian Sleeper is operated directly by the Scottish Government, and so this is part of the experience that they do really well. Branding on the Sleeper is a massive part of its authentic charm, and that's something a boring flight or long daytime train ride will never be able to replicate. Our journey comes to an end as we pull into Inverness roughly 13 minutes early at 08:29. Overall, I really enjoyed this trip on the Caledonian Sleeper. The beds were luxuriously comfortable, the meal service was tasty, and the shower was a refreshing way to wake up. All of this at such a good price too. It even saves on the need for a hotel. But as always, let me know what you thought of the Caledonian Sleeper in the comments. And for a look at the innovative overnight train in Norway, then click up here now.